We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine.
I love it.
That's my song.
No, that's all you need to do. Thanks so much, Evan. Honestly, that was a great intro.
I picked it because it had 7 words in it.
That's the reason why?
Yeah.
Do you even know that? You know that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Welcome, Evan, to the show.
Thank you for having me,
I'm
Manny.
excited about this show. I've been telling Angelina and everybody else, I'm like excited. You are our youngest guest ever, right? Which is great. But and off mic, I was just saying established in 2018. So you were 10 years old.
Yeah, 5 years now.
You ready for retirement?
Not yet.
No, you still got a lot of work ahead of
Yeah.
you. Let me share out the deets here. So Evan's Workshop, you're the owner, you're the CEO, 5 years. Website is evansworkshop.co or CA?
CA.
CA. And then the email is evansworkshop at...
iCloud.com.
That's it. And then on Instagram, everybody knows, of course, it's Evans_workshop.
Yes.
So we're going to have a very cool conversation. I know you brought some things, and I actually saw the box recently. You just finished and posted it, which is great. But I do want to do a few shout outs. Obviously, Rob, 13.
Yep.
He's the one that mentioned you, and you've done a lot of work there as well, too.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
He's one of my mentors.
That's totally cool. He's definitely one of the good ones to have, right? And then also Andrea Prete, right? So carpenter on site. So it's just the words getting out there and everybody's kind of understanding who you are and where you came from and what you're doing. And that's what we're going to talk about today, right? So another shout out is HSC Huntington Home Concepts t-shirt is what I'm wearing. And then I also want to shout out, wait a minute, there he is. Patricio from Pato Electric. Thanks so much, Pato, for being such a supporter of the show. Content, keep up the good work at P Squared Electric for all the hard work you provide for the clients. And then reach out to Pato on IG at P Squared Electric. And also he's got Pato the Electrician on his handle to book your next project with him and his crew. Reach out at info@psquaredelectric.ca and his phone number is 416-939-6446. And then also check out his show right on this show, show number 269 and show number 173, and he's going to be back to do a all Spanish version of the construction life because there's more than English people working in the construction industry. So I had the crazy idea of doing these other kinds of shows. So Evan, over to you. I usually start when we start talking to the guests, like where did it all start? But where did it all start? Why do you have a passion for woodworking and carpentry?
I've been woodworking for a long time now. I started when I was really young, like not supervising, but watching my grandfather work.
What was his position? What did he?
Like a hobby woodworker, but he does a lot of like hand tool work.
Okay.
And then when I was like 8 or 9, I picked it up again, but on YouTube, and I'm now like self-taught pretty much.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of good stuff on YouTube?
Oh, tons of great stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of great people in there.
Well, are all your friends anywhere near woodworking or construction, or are you the only friend in the circle that's in that world?
Only me in the circle, but they all think it's pretty cool. I don't think they fully understand what I do.
What are they doing? Like, I'm curious on what are they
like
doing?
sports, video games, stuff like that.
Okay.
But they think it's cool. I don't think they fully understand what it is, though.
So what is it to you?
It's more than just woodworking. It's like a business.
Okay. But you're seeing a product, you're creating something from something.
Yes.
And then you're seeing a client, you meet the clients, they tell you what we're looking for. And then how do you handle that conversation? Someone gives you what to begin with?
Well, somebody usually emails me, DMs me, asking could you make something like this? Like sends pictures or something, but with their own little twist on it. Like I do a lot of custom stuff. Like whatever somebody wants, I can make pretty much. You
don't rack your head on how to do that? Like where does it all begin?
Like I do. Like I think about it. Like just recently, I'm making a table right now.
Okay.
For a customer. It's like a big, like tall table. It's
like a dining table?
No, like a bar top table, yeah.
Okay.
And it's as soon as like the client came to me with the idea, I was like, I already know I want to do sliding dovetails for the joinery, and I brought that to life.
And so you know how to do sliding dovetails?
Yeah, I did it on my router table.
Who taught you how to do that?
YouTube.
Seriously?
Yep.
So you just YouTube it or talk to everybody that's online or whatever and just pick their brain and then you just go to it? Mm-hmm. And you're not afraid of the tools?
No.
All right. So obviously I want to get this out of the way. What tool brand are you?
I use a lot of tools, not.
So you're not loyal to, you're not yellow, red, fest, you're not.
I have a bit of everything.
Okay.
And I enjoy everything.
That might change one day.
Maybe. But as of right now, I like using everything I got.
What's your favorite tool right now?
My favorite tool right now has got to be my drum sander. I bought that a few years ago when I was making like, it was like 200 serving boards for Holland Bloorview. It's a children's hospital in downtown, I think.
Okay.
And I bought that because it was really going to speed up like the sanding process.
And you were using what, orbiters before then? Or
yeah.
No, you were using belt sanders before that?
No, I just had an orbital sander.
Just an orbiter. And that obviously made a huge difference.
A huge difference.
Yeah.
And I use it on every project. I don't think there's a single project that I haven't used it on since I got it.
How big's the drum? How wide?
16 inches. But it can stand 32 inches.
Really?
Yeah. Because like you do one pass and you flip it around and do another pass.
Whose is that one?
Laguna.
Okay. All right.
I love it. I use it all the time.
Where'd
Best purchase I've ever made.
All right. But then what about other tools that are you a fan of? I guess, well, you're routering all the time. So
yeah, I do a lot of routering.
You're doing dovetail jigs?
When it depends on like what dovetail I'm doing. Like I made a box similar to this.
Okay.
With dovetailed. This was like for me. Like it was kind of like a prototype watch box. And I did hand cut dovetails with saws, chisels, everything.
So you have a collection of Japanese saws kind of thing or not yet?
I have a collection of a lot of hand tools. I have one Japanese saw. I have a few Veritas saws, a lot of hand planes, chisels, everything. I enjoy using them.
So everybody else is riding bike, playing video games, being a kid. And I'm not saying that you're not being a kid, but you're a kid in a candy store with this stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, are they going to start coming to you and going, listen, Evan, can you maybe build me this? Can you maybe build me that?
Sometimes their parents do that.
What do you mean sometimes? If
like
you have a family, they're all asking you to do it.
Yeah. Like my family, I build a lot of things for my family. But also like my friends' parents, sometimes they commission me to build things.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the one thing that you haven't been asked to build, but you want to build?
Probably, I haven't built like a dining table yet. Like
a full blown?
Yeah, like
with
wood
leaves?
base, everything.
Really?
I haven't built one of those yet. But at the same time, I don't really have the space to build one of those. I'm in like a 1-car garage. It's kind of already filled up right now.
That's big enough for a tiny room table too. Well, yeah, you got all this stuff inside there.
A lot of stuff in there.
So you got to get some nice days and just bring it outside then.
Yeah.
So how was the transition from running a business to social? Because obviously, as soon as you got onto social, people started reaching out.
Well, I kind of as soon as I started my business, I started the social media. Like I started the Instagram page.
Okay.
And it's been taking me 5 years to get where I am right now.
Is it overwhelming?
Like.
Are you getting frustrated that I just want to work? I don't want to answer questions. I just want to work. No.
I like doing both.
Okay.
Because at the same time, I like interacting with the maker community online.
And who's reaching out to you? Is it all us older guys, or is you getting the younger generation too that's reaching out?
Well, like a big chunk of my followers are actually like kids.
Really? Mm-hmm. From all over Canada, all over the U.S.? And
all over the world.
Yeah?
So I think it's pretty cool. Like,
are there other Evans in different that you know of? No? Not somebody else in a different country that's around your age that's doing similar things?
I'm sure there is, but I don't think...
You haven't come across it yet online?
I haven't come across it yet, yeah.
So, sorry, what was that, Rob?
There's Annie's Woodwork.
A few kids, for example, that do woodworking on Instagram is Annie's Woodworking.
Okay, yeah.
She's in the U.S., and then there's JD. He's in Ontario. Sorry? Arpad. And then there's another one, Arpad. He's also in the U.S., another kid maker. And I interact with them online.
Yeah, there's a few out there, right? So.
And I met Cam. Have you heard of... what's the dad's company's name? Oh, like Fulton Fine Woodworking or something. But his son.
That sounds familiar. Yeah. Okay.
His son is a few years older than I am, and I met him at WorkbenchCon in March.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how was that?
Very fun. I would like to go back next year because like I got to meet everybody that I've been interacting on social media for.
It's different pace. Like when you get
I actually got to meet them.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. Everybody's very nice. The whole maker community is a great bunch of people.
What's your favorite kind of wood to work with?
Honestly?
Yeah.
I've been working with a lot of bird's eye maple recently.
I love bird's eye maple.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I like working with that.
Where are you getting your bird's eye from? Where are you getting any of the woods from the exotics?
Concept 13.
Oh, you're getting it from them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I got a whole bunch of bird's eye maple like way back from him, like probably 6 months ago, and I haven't like touched any of it. But as I was going through my wood, I was like, oh, it's a really nice piece of wood. I should probably use it.
I'm even in awe of when I'm there and I see Rob, and all of a sudden I'm standing beside a slab of black walnut, and then he's got his drawing on it or his chalk number on
Yeah.
it, right? And I always take a 0 off of that. I go, that's not bad.
That's
And he goes,
funny.
no, that's because they're a pretty penny, right?
Yeah.
And when you're standing next to it and you got 20 feet of black walnut, a huge slab, and I'm like going, geez, what's the price on that thing, man?
Not cheap.
No, it's not cheap, but it's well worth it when you build
Yeah.
something out of it. So
Oh,
you're looking to get to that point.
Yep.
That's challenging.
It is challenging, yeah.
So what's going to happen with Evan's workshop? Like when you get it bigger, you're going to start bringing on employees?
Well, I don't know what the future has in store for me. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do as my full-time job when I'm older. All I know is as of right now, I love woodworking. and I
Why
love
can't you
giving
do
back.
this as your full-time job?
I could. I'm not too sure what I want to do yet.
Come closer a little bit. But I mean, that's where the business side of the business now. Now, who's kind of guiding you on that?
My parents.
All right. So
They help me a lot.
You're understanding that, like, because do you have an idea of what you should be charging for your skill?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Like,
you kind of
depends on what I
sat
make.
down?
Yeah. Like, I have, like, set prices for some things, but, like, custom things, I have to come up with a price.
Hourly rate kind of thing?
Not really hourly rate, but similar.
Probably a little more than minimum wage, yeah?
Yeah. But I'm not working all the time, so it's not like a fixed income.
But it's like custom. You're creating
Yeah.
pieces of something out of wood. So
Yeah.
that's why like the price tag is really about how do you feel about its worth?
Like, some people, like, they reach out to me, right, and not expect it because they think I'm a kid. Like, my prices are going to be way lower because the quality's not going to be as good. But they're surprised when I tell them a price tag that's on par with somebody that's 30 or 50.
But what's the matter if the product is just as good, if not better?
Yeah, they don't realize that.
I know they don't think. They think, okay, there might be a discount here because he's a little guy.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No.
And you're good for that. That makes a lot of sense that you're not letting them do that, right?
Yeah, like when I was younger, I used to charge like less because I didn't really understand like what to charge. So, but now I do. At least I think I do.
No, you're still learning, but you're probably getting better at it.
Definitely
right?
getting
So,
better,
and then also the word's getting out there, so people are seeing the product, and then they're like, you should give them a call because it's actually really good, and then it's worth the price, and then
Yes.
that's where the conversation starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've done everything right, where the word of mouth is just growing from there, right?
Yep. Like I only get business from word of mouth. Like I occasionally get a few DMs from people that see my work on Instagram, but most of the time it's word of mouth.
It's kind of funny how, I mean, if you go back in time, if you were a 15-year-old kid in the 80s, how would you have pulled this off?
I don't think I would have.
I don't think you would have. I think you actually need that connection to a social audience, right?
That's the thing. Like nowadays, it's way different than it used to be. Like I wasn't born in the 80s. I'm born now, but
Jeez, what year were you? I'm going, wow, okay, all right.
but like now social media, it's so big that you can do anything. Like a lot of people, their job is social media.
Yeah.
So it's way different.
It's a different mindset too, right? That's why I was asking about your circle, trying to figure out what else they're doing. I'm always curious on what else their circle is doing, right? So what are they trying to aspire to be as well? Because you're already on your path. I mean, eventually you could be building so much and then eventually become either a business owner that has, and you're training other people, and then, or you can actually just go into other areas of the industry, right?
Yep.
And then go from there. But eventually you'll be instructing people. You'll have enough toys in the shop that you'll be instructing people,
Yeah,
right? Which
that's
is totally cool, right?
Yep. I think so.
So Evan, I want to ask you, how are you juggling school, workshop, social media, being a kid, living life? How are you juggling all that stuff?
It's impossible. I have help from my parents who help me out with my social media.
So-
I help with my social media as well, but my parents also help me with it. It's impossible to do school, homework, friends, workshop, Instagram, everything, running a business together. It's impossible. And I'm thankful that I have my parents that help me do it.
So you got, okay, I mean, during school months, you're there Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
You're there from what school these days? I don't know, 8 to 2 or something? 8 to 3?
High school's the one I'm at is 9 to 3:15.
9 to 3:15, right?
Yeah.
But then you got homework.
Yeah.
So you've got that day, Monday to Friday, 9 to 3:15. Then you've got how many hours for homework?
45 minutes to an hour.
Okay, so an hour there, right? And then where's workshop time?
Right after that.
Right after that, into the workshop.
Yeah.
Okay, and then where's like studying just for exams coming up
Studying's probably in that homework period.
in the homework period? Okay, and then where's social media time? How much time is there?
Social media time probably at night, like after dinner. That's social media.
For like what, a couple hours a day?
Like I'm not on it. Like I take breaks. I go back.
I know. So workshop time, you're going in there for how many hours during the weekdays?
Probably 2.5.
And then on the weekends, it ramps up?
The weekends probably more, but on the weekends I'm more with my friends.
And then, yeah, so how much time are you spending, like, being a kid?
About like a lot of time, because at the same time I go to like the gym a few times a week with my friends, so I juggle a lot of stuff.
What, you pumping weights? What's going on
Yeah.
here? I know, but so you got to still factor in like eating time,
Yeah.
sleeping time, and there's only 24 hours.
Yeah.
There's only 7 days. Like, so how are you managing all of that? Like, it's impossible. I know that your parents are helping you with some of the behind the scenes stuff, and then there's also running the business too, right? So you still have a say in that. You're still doing that. You're still planning that. Then you're still dealing with clients. You're getting people who reach out to you. They want a project built from you. So like, it's like, how are you gonna? Is it becoming too much right now?
It's not too much as of yet, but I think if it keeps going up like it is, then it might get too much.
It's gonna keep on growing. It's just a fact, right? Like you're going down a path where you're gonna start building bigger things, and people are gonna want, or more complicated things. Then that's gonna be more time consuming, right? So. But right now, you're just starting high school, right?
Yeah, grade 9.
Grade 9. So you still got some time, but if you're going to decide whether or not you're going to do post or if you're going to do some sort of training or get down, other avenues.
Well, I know I enjoy school, so I think I'm probably going to go to university.
Okay.
Get a degree in something.
Any idea on what?
Maybe business.
Makes sense.
It'd
Makes a lot of sense.
I think it'd be good to get a business degree. Wouldn't hurt.
Yeah. I'm just impressed that you're spending like your valuable time, right? How many hours of sleep you get?
A lot.
How many hours? I know that I know I text you and your dad answered, or DM'd you and your dad
I'd
answered.
say like 8 hours on the week. On a week.
You're supposed to be
weekend.
sleeping 8 to 10 hours anyway, right?
On a weekend, I get way more sleep than that.
You're having like woodworking dreams or nightmares. You're hearing power tools or something like that. If you're thinking about projects and you're trying to figure out problem solving, listen, we all do this. We all go down and we're like trying to figure out something. All of a sudden, we just like it's racking our head while we're sleeping too, right?
Yeah.
And then we wake up and you.
That's
figure
usually
it
when
out.
I get some of my ideas.
You have a notepad by the bed yet?
No.
That's a classic one. You should have a notepad there. So you have an idea, you wake up and write it down right away because you'll forget it when you get up in the morning.
Yeah.
So you should do that. Well, you should have an iPad, I guess, and do it digitally or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing that you're juggling all these things because, first of all, you were never asked to do the social. You were never asked to teach, educate. You were never asked to do a business. You weren't asked to do any of that stuff, but now that's on your plate.
Like if you were to tell me 5 years ago that today I'd be at like 40,000 followers and have like a full business, I'd be like, no, you're crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. That's impossible.
Yeah. But it's possible. I'll tell you that.
It's very possible. Split the word. I am impossible. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So you brought some toys. You brought some things that you built. You want to talk a little bit about them?
Yeah. So this mallet I made probably a few years ago, 3 years ago. Like if I were to make a mallet today, it'd be way better than this. Like the handle would be tapered and everything. But this is a special mallet because the wood I inlaid is old growth redwood lace burl. It's an extinct species of redwood. Pass it over.
I know. It's a big table.
But that wood is extinct, and it's a very nice wood.
What country does it come from?
I think the U.S.
Really?
Like, I know a little bit of history about it. Like I know like back in like the 19th century, or like 1800s.
It's funny. It's got a bird's eye grain to it, huh?
Yeah, it's very burly, cool.
But there's
stuff.
no like it's hard to find this.
Oh yeah, like it's very hard to find.
And then what's your maple on the other side?
Ambrosia maple, yeah, and
Yeah,
a walnut
that's
handle.
okay.
But the story behind the old growth redwood burls, back in the day, people only wanted like wood that was straight grain, no burl, no curl, because they thought it was ugly wood. And what they used, like those big slabs of that wood, was like wood, like fillers in roads, like underneath like pavement and stuff. And they dug it up recently, and it's worth a lot of money.
How do you know all this stuff?
Back when I got the wood from a guy named Matt, he kind of gave me a little bit of history about it.
So you took 3 layers of 3/4, and then you just glued them together, and then you did the inlay, right? How'd you do the inlay? You did it with a router, or you did it
on the router table?
On the router,
with
right?
The fence.
And then you just chamfered a handle here.
Yep.
And then it's just glued.
Yeah. I think I've used that mallet like only a few times. Because 'Cause I don't really want to screw up the
No, you
red
don't.
one.
Of course, man. You want to just
It's more of a
it.
showpiece.
Exactly. What glue are you using these days?
Acfix.
Ah, you're a fan of it?
Yeah.
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
I think it's a little better than Portuguese luck, which is PL, right? So it's
Yeah.
like when you're doing the heavier construction stuff. But I guess, yeah. Okay, so that's that. What's the handle made out of?
Walnut.
That's walnut. Yeah.
Just regular walnut.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
Yep.
It's a little Thor hammer. Okay, and then what do you got there?
This is a shirt for you.
That's for me?
I'm not sure what size you wear. I just
I'm
have.
an XL. If it's
Oh, that's
small.
an XL.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much, man.
You're welcome. Wear it well.
I'll totally wear it. I love swag.
Hopefully it fits.
Thanks. And then you recently, I know I saw that, right? So you recently did that.
So I've been making some watch boxes recently. Like I made one for myself as like a prototype. I don't have any watches yet. One day I'd like to.
Who are the watches that were in there on the actual video?
My grandfather's.
They're impressive pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one's also from my other grandfather. I just had to fix it up because I kind of screwed up when I was putting the hinges in.
How? Okay.
And because I didn't really know with like these types of hinges, you didn't have to. I put them all the way in and see how they're sticking out a little
Got
bit.
it. Yeah.
I had to reset them by
But that's woodworking.
putting some other pieces of bird's eye maple in there. But it's good. Oh, forgot about these ones. Let me show this one to you.
This is the first time everybody's like throwing stuff at me. Oh, look at that, huh?
And then there's like all those watch pillows in there.
Yeah. So what do you got? You got black walnut on the inside. You got bird's eye, and
Yep.
then you got an inlay here of black walnut.
And then the black walnut splines.
And the spines. That's impressive, man.
Yeah.
So you're
I like
taking
it.
orders for this now.
Like, yeah, if somebody wanted one, I'd make one for them. But
Can I? Or you guys can deal with pricing later on. But I'm just curious. You could tell me later on pricing.
I'm not too sure what I even charge for something like that.
Okay.
I haven't had anybody like reach out for one of those yet.
It's impressive. I like it.
And then these,
Rob's got some fingers up.
what's that?
What are those?
These were like the first project I ever made. These plywood coasters.
And you stained them?
Yep, they're oak plywood. They're not even square. They're off, not even a perfect square.
What'd you
nothing.
cut it? Hand?
With my Rockwell, like my first thing I really bought was like
Rockwell.
was like an upside down jigsaw with like a fence.
Okay. All right.
It's kind of odd, but that's
Did
what
you
got me
get
started.
shards of wood coming at you or something?
Probably, but they're just goes to show like my first project and my most recent project, how far I've come.
So, Evan, so like, what? Okay, I know the grandfather, but what was it? You're 10 years old. Like, what was it that just kind of said, almost like a light around a tool or something like that? I don't want to try to make it sound like.
Before I was like 10, like I was kind of working with screwing around with like motors and batteries and wires and stuff. Like I'd make these little inventions with like motors
Tinkering.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, tinkering.
And then I don't know how it really came about, but for my 10th birthday, I wanted a drill, a Milwaukee drill from Home Depot. I remember I asked all my friends for Home Depot gift cards, and their parents called my mom to see if like I was like being serious, which I was.
10 years old asking that.
And I
drill
got
is
my
kinda-
first tool, which was a drill, a Milwaukee drill.
So why a Milwaukee?
Not too sure. I thought it was just a cool drill.
Just a cool looking drill.
Yeah.
You saw it already somewhere,
Yeah.
and then that was it. Then you got it.
And then I got
Drill driver and impact.
just a drill,
Just a drill.
just a drill.
Okay.
And that's what kind of got me started. From there, I started building a whole bunch of stuff. I think my first project with that was an Izzy Swan inspired like drill powered car.
Really?
Yeah.
A drill powered car.
Yeah. It was like made of 2x4s with like these lawnmower wheels I got off Amazon. With
Did you post that? I don't think
I did post it.
Did you post it? Yeah, but it's not on the website.
Might be on the website.
I just be curious to see it, right? So how long
Yeah.
did that take to build you?
That took a few months, I think. No, it took longer than that. I think I worked on it, then I worked on it during the winter with my grandfather, and then I finished. Originally, it wasn't supposed to be powered by a drill. It was supposed to be powered by this like scooter motor, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to wire it, or no, not to wire it, but how like the chain kept slipping.
Okay.
So I could not figure out how to do that. So I just used my drill to power it.
So the idea is that you're driving it and you're just engaging the drill?
No, I had like a little gas pedal.
Okay.
Like kind of like a pulley system that pulled the trigger.
Oh, and then pull the trigger.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How fast did it go? What'd you clock it at?
Not very fast.
Yeah, but still, you know what? Though you built something and then it was moving.
It was moving.
That's
yeah.
what I mean. So it's like that's pretty impressive that you got that far.
Yeah.
Cares about how fast. You weren't doing laps or something like
No.
that. No, it was just really about it. It goes.
It does go.
It's the coolest thing.
Is it on there? We're
think
going to
it's
try to
on
find it,
his
but that's all
Instagram.
good.
It's on his Instagram, but I'm gonna pull it up. It's just loading very slowly. His Instagram.
I'll do a little bit of history of construction here while we're trying to find this. So what is a carpenter in Canada? Any idea? You don't have to answer any of these,
Okay.
but carpenters form the largest single group of skilled workers in Canada. They build, install, maintain, and repair structures made of wood, wood substitutes, and other materials. What was the very first carpenter? Any idea, Evan? You're a history guy. You seem like you got a little bit of
The first carpenter I'd probably say is maybe like saying in like ancient Greece, maybe.
going further back than that. Some of the oldest archaeological evidence of carpentry are water well casings built using splint oak timbers with mortise and tenon and notched corners, excavated in eastern Germany, dating as far back as 7,000 years ago.
Oh,
That's how far back the carpenters go. How old are most carpenters these days? The average?
maybe like 40.
41.
Close, very close.
41. There are over 266,600 construction carpenters currently employed in the U.S. 3.1% of all the construction carpenters are women, and while 96.9 are men. The average age of an employed construction carpenter is 41. How many carpenters are in America? Any idea? Just take a stab.
Couple million?
There are 339,019 people employed in the carpentry industry in the U.S. as of 2023.
There's a lot of people in the U.S.
Yeah,
Hundreds of
I thought it would be a lot higher, but I guess this is just by definition of a carpenter, right? Which country has the best carpenters? It's Germany. Is best in the world because we are unique and educated. Nobody can fool the German carpenters. I wonder who's sharing that. What is the highest paid carpenters out there? So you got master carpenter, average salaries from 42 to 64K. Journeyman carpenter is 46 to 63, and carpenter foreman are 45 to 63. And then how much do you think carpenters get paid in Ontario?
$80,000 a year?
$72,804 as of May 1st of 2023. The range is anywhere from 62,542 to 85,647. So I just want to share a little bit of history there. Did we found or no?
No.
We didn't find it? You still looking for it? Brafasco Brock White Construction Materials and National Concrete Accessories combines the best of each brand's 50-plus year legacy now as one team across Canada. Whether you need professional-grade construction materials, tools, or safety supplies, their team can help you get what you need from the leading trusted brands in the professional business. Their experienced and knowledgeable associates provide technical support, sourcing and quotations, delivery, local pickup, and stocked offerings, plus so much more. So whether you need concrete accessories, masonry products, fasteners, or power tools, the teams at Brafasco, Brock White, and NCA can get what you need to complete your project. With over 70 locations across Canada, trust the Whitecap Supply Canada team for your next project. You can reach out to them and find your nearest location at brafasco.com, nca.ca, and brockwhite.ca. No problem. That's all good. So I know that earlier on you mentioned about Rob and Andrew. And who else has been mentoring you in the actual carpentry side of things?
Two main ones I'd say was Derek from Bad, North
Okay.
America.
Yeah.
You heard of them?
Yep.
Yep. Great guy. Love him. And Paul from Canadian Woodworks.
Okay. Yeah.
Three, because also Rob's in there. Three great guys.
Are you going to go down the whole? I'm trying to think of. Are you going to go down the Red Seal route? Are you going to try to figure out other trades? Or are you going to just focus on furniture and cabinet, like woodworking? Do you have any interest in going into any other lines?
Well, as of right now, I think I'm more interested in like the fine woodworking and furniture making,
Yeah.
not like building houses.
Are you doing any kind of research, paying attention to like what other people in other countries are pulling off? I mean, you see a lot of Japanese woodworking and things like that, right? So
Yep.
are you paying attention to all that stuff?
Yeah, I pay attention to it all.
And then all this stereonomist kind of guys and stuff like that, the framing, the woodworking, the mortise and tenon, all that stuff, right?
Yeah. I do a little bit.
You wrapped your head around it on how to do it.
For some of them, yeah. Some of them are complicated.
I'm still trying to figure it out. It's challenging, man.
It is.
Because it's good that they figured it out, but to see something 3-dimensionally on a piece of paper is challenging, right? Because that's where your work starts too as well.
No.
It doesn't?
No.
How does it start?
I can't draw for the life of me.
So how are you're having a conversation with a client, that's all?
They send like some measurements, and I kind of I think about it, and I go right to Rob's and I buy some wood. I start cutting.
And that's it.
No drawing, nothing. Probably not the right way to do it, but that's how I do it.
You eventually got to start doing some sketching.
Yeah.
Because
eventually.
they might want to see some sort of mock-ups.
Yeah.
To get a better idea.
I think the only thing I've really drawn was when I built my boat. And it was like 2 really rough sketches.
How big of a boat?
It was 6 foot something by like 3 feet wide. I was in it. It was like a full boat.
Where's the boat now?
I don't know where the boat is now, to be honest with you. I have the motor now, but...
What'd you build it out of?
Plywood.
How'd you shape it?
1/4-inch plywood. Bends.
So it bends?
Yeah.
How'd you make the frame to support all of it?
2x2s and plywood.
So did you just go back to old boat making skills? Is that what you made?
Yeah, I think it's like a cocktail boat. You know Jason Hibbs? Bird Moth?
No. Okay.
Well, he built a boat last summer, and as soon as that video came out, I watched it. I was like, I have to build a boat. That is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then I started doing research that night on boat building. And then I started building a boat.
How long did it take you to build the boat?
Probably 6 to 8 months. Well, I kind of took a break over the winter.
Yeah,
Like,
so it was a
cool.
project on the side.
Yeah,
And then you launched it.
I did launch it. It did float.
Did you name it?
Yeah. My boat, not your boat.
My boat, not your boat.
And I had like a circle that I glued on that was engraved with that name.
That's wicked. And then it had her motor and everything.
Yeah. It's like a trolling motor, battery powered from Greenworks.
I guess that's 6 foot 2-person boat or 1 person.
1-person boat.
1-person boat, huh?
Yeah. It
Wow.
floated.
Two little like you guys
Yeah.
probably pull it off, but it all
Maybe.
that off.
But I would like to build another boat.
A bigger boat?
Yeah. Like after building that, I don't know. I had so much joy when I finished building that because it took me so long and I learned so much. I feel like if I would build one again, I'd make it better.
How did you wrap your head around the whole? Did you do any sketches for that?
Yeah, like 2 really rough sketches.
Okay.
Like really rough.
Are you gonna play like there it is right there?
Yeah.
You can. I'm just. So what are you gonna build next, Evan? You gonna build a plane?
Maybe. You never know.
Start looking at some of the old Da Vinci sketches and build a helicopter and build a plane, and it was all done out of wood. Man.
I don't know if my parents would let me do that.
Oh, why not? It's just off the garage. That's all. That'd be totally fine. Just to do a test flight.
Just a little test
Just
flight,
a little test flight from the top of the garage to the bottom of the ground, and hopefully not through the ground. But you can't click on any of these, right? No, that's all good. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, there is my boat on the top.
On the top corner there. Yeah, so if you go to the Instagram, you'll totally see the boat there.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be like a little local celebrity?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah?
Like when I was at Workbench Con, like a lot of people recognize me.
You getting asked for the autograph already?
No.
No,
Just,
no.
I don't think autographs are in anymore. I think it's all pictures.
Okay.
Like if you were to go walk down the street and you saw your favorite actor, you wouldn't be like, oh, can I have an autograph? Everybody's like, oh, let me just take a picture. Take a selfie.
Autographs are nice.
Yeah. It's for like, I used to collect like baseball cards.
Yeah.
And like I have a few autograph cards. But like I'd much rather actually meet the person than have an autograph.
Makes sense. So you do a lot of research. You do a lot of history. You check out. That's how you problem solve it when
Yeah.
you're tasked with something.
Yeah.
So you're online all the time
Yeah.
and just Google searching, YouTubing.
Yeah. Nowadays, like sometimes I can encounter a problem. I don't even Google. I kind of just figure it out. Kind of stand there for a minute, think. Sorry? Oh, like when I was building my boat, I didn't really think about this when I started, but like when it's kind of almost done, I was kind of getting nervous it wouldn't float. So I started calculating, Googling all the, like how to calculate buoyancy, displacement values.
Listen, if Rose can float and Jack can die, it's totally fine. Your boat will float. All right.
It ended up floating, but I did do all those calculations. I figured out that the boat could hold like 175 pounds.
It's funny how you do that in construction, where you start calculating the weight of water, you start calculating all these kind of things that you'd never thought in your life that you would be calculating, and then now here you are calculating that.
That's what I thought when I was building my boat. I was like, it'll be simple, nothing, no calculations,
No, you can't look
math.
at it. You can't look at it that way.
But I encountered a lot of math in there.
You're going to be getting into, like, when you start building a table, you're going to start talking about structural and like cantilever and strength, and because you're going to want to obviously build a base that's a lot smaller than the top, and then you'll have the overhang and things like that. You'll have to figure out how to do that, and I guess you'll have to start working with a little bit of steel as well too, at some point.
Maybe.
So you getting, like, are you going to get itching to get into welding and things like that?
Maybe eventually. As of right now, more like just into woodworking.
I'm liking a lot of the stuff. I know that I see a lot of woodworking, and I see a lot of the guys, they throw in the brass inlays and things like that, and they're pretty slick, right? The way it kind of works. When it's done perfectly, and it just blends right into the wood. So I like that marry of wood and metal together in a piece, right?
Yep.
So it's eventually going to get there.
Eventually.
So you got to start understanding metals.
Yeah.
Certain metals don't work with each other. You got to start understanding all kinds, and how soft certain metals are. How
like
hard.
I learned a little bit about metals in science.
Yeah.
But it gives good to know, but I'll have to, like, when I start working with metal eventually, I'll have to keep those, like, consider all those facts about the metals.
And then what are you sealing it? What kind of, you're using Odie's?
I use a bunch of different things. Like, recently I've been using bumble shoots. I met them at Workbench Con.
I've never even heard of them.
It's like, it smells like Odie's oil.
Okay.
It's good. I like it.
Same idea? Do they have a different, what is it, just slightly different or something?
Like, they have, like, a bunch of different products. But I've been using, like, what's it called? The conditioning oil. And, like, with the wax on top. And it works pretty well.
Which one's that?
Bumble shoots.
They're conditioning oil.
Yeah.
Why does it work much better for you?
I just like it. Like, I like to try different things.
You ever build something and royally messed up and had to start all over again?
Yeah, I have. So
How did that feel?
Like, I felt defeated because I spent all this time making something. I had to redo it. So I actually have a story about this.
Okay.
So when I was building the sign for Giants of Africa, I did it in the winter,
Okay.
December-ish.
Yeah.
So I was building a sign for their annual gala, and I was building it, like, nice sign, trim, everything, like, logo, stained, everything. And I was making it. I was pretty much done. Like, I was done. And I ended up, like, putting paper down so I could know where to glue each letter for the logo.
Makes sense.
And some of the paper got stuck on. And I could not, I tried, like, scraping it away very lightly, but I ended up taking a gouge out of the wood. And I know this was going to be sold, like, auctioned off for money, so I had to redo it. I salvaged, like, some of the letters, but some of them I had to redo.
You just had to start from scratch all over again and not use paper.
Yeah. Like, I have the failed one in my workshop.
As a reminder?
I don't know if it's a reminder. I don't really look at it that much, but it's there.
But it's good that you acknowledged it, right? Yeah. First of all, you did what most of us would do, would try to salvage it.
Yeah.
But if you can't salvage it, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, you can't.
It's more work. Sometimes it's more work to salvage it than to actually remake it.
And then doing it the second time actually goes a lot faster.
Yeah, because I knew what I was doing.
You already know where to go. A, B, C, you're all of a sudden there, right?
Yeah.
So how did it feel to actually make the second piece? And
when I finished the second piece, it felt good because I know, like, this one was perfect.
yeah. It's probably going to turn out better than the first one that you were working on.
Yeah.
So the defeat was gone.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
I still kind of, like, bummed out that I had to remake it again, but I'm happy that I remade it again.
I know, but you're making, like, cutting boards and other kind of presentation boards, and you're making so many of them, so you're making them more than once, right?
So each one gets better and better.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like look at the stuff that you're making there, which is insane. The table, you're messing around with epoxy as well, huh?
Yeah, I do a lot of epoxy work.
Do you like it?
I do like it.
Did you ever have one leak?
Oh, I have them leak all the time.
Everybody's leaks. That's how it works.
But that table I made with Paul from Canadian Woodworks.
Okay.
I made the base and I made the top. And, there's the sign that I had to redo.
There you go.
Like, before, like, I think it was by the basketball. Like, some of the paper got stuck. But now it's perfect.
It just worked out. Lesson learned. That's all it is.
Yeah. No, December 6th has kind of right.
And then the Blue Jay, you got a Blue Jay here?
Yep.
Would you make that out of pine? No.
Pine.
That's
pine.
pine.
And plywood.
Pine and plywood.
Yep.
Okay.
Stained.
So these are just pieces that you do, and then you kind of auction them off, or you ship them. Yeah.
Or like one price, one buyer, and all the money just goes to kids. Because I can't really do like a raffle, like legally, because they need like permits and stuff.
Oh, really? I didn't know anything about that. Okay, so what's with the table here?
This one I made with Zach from Zach Builds and Derek. He sponsored the build from Bad.
Okay.
So Bad sponsored that build, and me and Zach made the 3 tables.
What's the larger picture? What's the wood there?
That's walnut.
That's
all
walnut?
All of them are walnut.
What did you do? Like, is there like a 3D kind of topical grain to it? Did you guys kind of gouge it on the top, or is
No,
it?
that's all like curls in the wood.
That's all it is?
Yep.
Oh, wow, I've never seen it look like that. I mean, on the ones on the right there, yeah, they look like walnut, no problem.
Yeah.
I like the
It's a
black
beautiful
epoxy.
piece.
It's beautiful. And the legs are just painted black?
I bought the legs off Amazon.
Oh, really?
Pre-fabricated, pre-powder coated.
Powder coated, and that's it. You can't go wrong.
Oh no, I think I got the hairpin legs from Rob. I think I got the other ones from Amazon.
Yeah, Rob's getting into a bunch of the legs now,
Yeah.
right? So he totally gets it. It's just nice to walk into a shop and that smell, huh?
Very nice smell. That was a very, very, very fun build.
What were your thoughts on the epoxy when you were first handling it?
Like back when I started epoxy,
Yeah.
it was difficult because there's like a big learning process in it involved with it. Now I'm pretty comfortable doing it.
Stay a little closer to the mic.
Good.
Yeah, that's better. That's much better. Yeah, no, I just want to make sure everyone's hearing what you're going on. I know just because everybody gets into the epoxies, right? You're getting a lot of clients asking for it.
Yep. A lot of people like the epoxy.
And what colors are they? I mean, I'm a fan of the black because I think it just looks kind of
The
rich.
most popular color that people always want is like shades of blue. Usually like a light blue.
like teals and greens, or they just want blue?
Green is actually pretty popular.
Yeah.
I've done a few green pieces, but the most popular is blue. People really like the blue, especially the walnut. Walnut's also very popular.
Now these are cutting boards. No, these are serving boards.
That's a charcuterie board. That's a serving board. Those are coasters.
Yeah, and you got coasters as well.
Yeah. Like you can't cut on the epoxy because then you're gonna it's pretty much plastic.
Yeah, that's why, right? So even plastic cutting boards should never even be on the market, but they are.
Yeah.
That's a whole political show that we don't want to get into right now. But it's like just cut on wood, people. That's how they've been doing it for centuries, right? It makes a lot of sense.
Also looks nicer.
It looks a lot nicer, man.
So there's a lot of blue. A lot of blue.
So it's kind of funny when I was in high school and I was like in shop. My first project was just a chessboard, a checkerboard. That's what we did. And
End grain or face grain?
It was face grain, and I was just like going. I was impressed with just taking 2 different colors of wood and just cutting it one way and then cutting it another way and then gluing it together. And all of a sudden, how did that happen? That to me was magic. But I mean, you're taking this to the whole other level, man.
Mm-hmm. It's cool stuff. A lot of epoxy.
So your projects from now on are just going to get bigger.
Yeah.
That's
I
all.
think so.
That's what you're going to focus on.
I'm slowly scaling up.
You're going to have to change the height of your table, no? As you grow, I'm sure he's going to have a spurt soon, right?
I hope so.
It's going to be a spurt, and all of a sudden you're going to have to. You'll walk into the shop one day, and you'll have to change the height of everything.
I'm due for a new workbench.
Okay.
I've had this one for like 3 years.
So you got to build it.
I want to build like a nice one, like laminated, nice thick top, like more of like a hand tool bench.
How big?
Similar to the one I have now. I think it's 2 feet by 4 feet.
Okay.
That's a good size. But right now I have like a piece of plywood on top that like, makes the surface bigger. Like it's like 3 feet by 4 feet now because I need all the workspace I can get.
Are you like engraving your logo on all your tools to make sure nobody thiefs it?
No,
You're not doing that?
no. I don't think I have any stickers on my.
Not stickers.
Oh, I-
Stickers are easy to take off. You got to engrave it, right? So everyone knows. Like, I like doing that because I like seeing trades with my batteries or something, and I see my engraving on it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, how'd you end up with that?
Like in my shop, like nobody's taking my tools.
No, it's your shop. You just walk right
Yeah.
in. But you never know. Someone might come in, want to help with you, and all of a sudden, by accident, just take something, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, that belongs to Evan."
Yeah.
Then I got to bring it back, right?
Like there's some different.
What's the redwood?
Padouk. It's
Wow.
an African hardwood. Very dense.
How do you know all these woods?
I've used them. I have them. I don't know.
So you ever walk into like one of the more exotic looking places and just go through and take a look at certain woods and just kind of understand where they came from?
Well, I usually get sometimes I get my hardwood, like my exotic wood from Rob.
So he's bringing in a bunch.
Yeah.
Have you guys been into exotic woods?
No.
In Burlington?
No.
Should have a little. They make guitars there as well too, eh?
I should probably go there.
Like you could just walk around all the aisles and you'll see all the different kinds of wood species that they have and the pieces that you can buy, and they have it all chalked number and everything. But they also have a whole division there that makes guitars, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty
Guitar
cool.
making, you need like very, like, perfect wood, like no imperfections or anything. Or else it'll like, I don't know much, but like I know it'll like screw with the sound of the actual guitar.
It will. You gonna try to dabble into that?
Maybe one day.
That's like a challenge.
That's
right?
like a big hand tool project. One day, maybe. A lot of things. I always say one day. I'm probably never gonna get to most of these things.
One day. Listen, you got people in this business that are like 50 years older than you, still saying one day.
It's like, I know, like I'm pretty young, but we had a maple tree cut down in our backyard like a long time, like what, 3 years ago?
How big was it? How mature?
It was a big tree.
Oh wow!
And I got these 2 like thick cookies, and my mom wanted like an end table, and I've been saying, yeah, I'll make it for 3 years now.
I haven't made it.
No,
You got to get to it.
I'm working on it.
Start scheduling it.
The wood's drying.
That's what you're you're using that one. The wood's drying. The wood's drying. It takes time. How long does it take wood to dry?
Usually an inch, like 1 inch a year. So if it's 4 inches, 4 years.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it stop?
No, I think it doesn't really it will never get to zero.
No.
Because like the conditions, like there's always some moisture in the air.
Yeah.
But like it's good to work with when it's like 9 to 12%. And that's when the wood's best to work with.
So you're also like studying this stuff.
Like I think as I do more woodworking, it just like it comes naturally. I'm not like studying like, oh, one day I'm gonna go study all the different types of wood. Like as I woodwork and I use different things, I learn as I go.
What's the most porous wood out there?
Probably oak.
Oak is the most porous wood?
Yeah. Like there's a lot of
Like an open grain in there.
very open grain. Like this is like oak plywood. It's not like a good example, but
Yeah.
you could see it's very grainy. That's why you shouldn't use oak for cutting boards.
Because
Because food
it just-
will get stuck in the
It would
boards.
just get open up and crack, and then it's all garbage,
That
right?
too.
Yeah.
So
Well, I was trying to get to like a porous wood, like a sponge. Like you're a sponge.
No.
You're just absorbing all this stuff. That's what
Yeah.
I just didn't think that oak would have been the most porous wood out there.
it's a very porous wood. I don't
Pine? Isn't pine really?
know. Pine doesn't have as open of a grain.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
So when the wood, I guess, it starts interacting with moisture, that's when you kind of see it react to it, right?
Yeah.
Versus other harder woods, you start getting into Africans, mahoganies, or all kinds of denser woods. You don't have that kind of porous, right?
Like if you look on the bird's eye maple.
Yeah.
It's like there's almost like no open pores on the wood. But if you look at the walnut, there's like some pores in the wood. They're more visible.
So the face of this, is it the same board?
Yep.
It's kind of funny how it's slightly, there's so much, this pattern grain versus this pattern grain. But I know because I saw the video that you actually just sliced it on the bandsaw.
I used a handsaw.
You used a handsaw?
It's too big for my bandsaw.
Even on the short side?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have a small bandsaw.
Could have went to Rob's.
Could have.
I know, but you don't want to always be going.
Sometimes, like, it's better just like spend the extra hour.
Handsaw. Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. And then I ran it through my drum sander to get them even.
Just clean it up a
Yeah.
little bit. Wow. It's impressive, man.
Thank you.
So what else you want to share?
Well, there's pretty much everything I build is on my website. So,
How's business? Business is good?
oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Slow. It's like slow recently, but I'm always busy with something.
And everybody's... Sorry? For an adult, he's doing really well. You know what I mean? No, you got a smart idea that's going on here, man. And plus, you love doing this stuff.
I love it. Yeah.
You ever think you'll lose the love?
5 years already. I don't think anything's changing.
I know, but I'm sure you've met other woodworkers in the business, and they may have lost the love or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Could happen.
Never know.
You might.
Hopefully not. But
No, but it does. It'll always stay there. But I think that you seem like the kind of guy that will look at another option, another idea, another, like you'll mess around with other materials. I could totally see you doing that, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be like picking up raw material of something else, and you'll be like, I could build something out of this. It's just basically your creative ideas and the material that you're using.
Yep.
And that's how you pull it off. Right now, you're focusing on wood, but you're also focusing on epoxy.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, metal's like right around the corner.
I think that's
Metal
my
and
next step.
glass. So you're gonna start messing around with glass. You know the history of glass, right? Like you start getting into the older style glass, all the
Like,
bubble glass.
I don't know a lot about glass.
Look into it, man. Because it's just like the way that there's certain bars that they try to rebuild that. They try to put that glass in there, that distorted glass. And I always like the way it was paired with wood when it's connected to it, right? So if you actually did inlays for tables or something like that and you're using that old school glass, it looks pretty impressive, right?
I'll check it out.
You know, the other thing that you should try to do is actually, I just came across this picture when I was a little younger, just getting started in the business, probably about 15 years ago. I made a Lego table.
Yep.
So I made a table because my brother's son, he was asking for it, and he was like, can you build me a Lego table? And I was like, okay, so I don't even know what the hell that is, but what is it? So then he showed me what was being sold in the store. And I was like, well, that's garbage. So it was just a table with a big sack on the bottom, and you put all your Lego pieces inside the sack. So then I went and I looked at it, and I was like, well, every time you want to get a piece, you got to go underneath the table and grab a piece.
Not very practical.
It's not practical. So I came up with a square table where I built the trough around the whole perimeter. So I put the Lego tiles on the main part of it. I made it actually, I think 3x6 or something like that, glued them all down. And then I just built the trough around the whole thing, and I put all the pieces in the trough. And then
That's smart.
You just grab from the, and so people started asking me, can you, like, what would you sell this for? I built a one-off. I actually built two. And that was it. I wasn't interested in building any more of those. But it turned out pretty slick. And then he was using it for a long time. I don't even know where it is right now. But Lego should do that.
Maybe. They should.
Or you should get into that. That's just an idea.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, kids still play with Legos.
They do. I used to play with Lego.
Everybody, I think.
A lot of Lego.
I think everybody plays with Lego.
I used to make these like Lego candy machines. They like put like a quarter in. They gave you like a Tic Tac or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
And it worked?
Yeah. I was like big into Lego. Like really big into Lego.
Where's this Lego stuff now? It's in the basement, huh?
I don't play with it now, but
Throw some Lego inside the epoxy.
I cast it in there. People put a lot of things in epoxy. I probably
Yeah, I know.
would
I've
do
seen
that.
it. I saw a really cool one recently. I saw a boardroom table with a whole construction setup.
Yep.
Like cranes and dump trucks and people. And,
That's cool.
And people were building like a waterway. I thought that was very cool.
I noticed a table. Like, are these all movie tickets that you've been to?
Yeah. Rob actually built this table.
That's pretty cool.
He built the frame. He put it together, and then he did the engraving on the corners there of the Construction Life logo. And then I just said, listen, man, I don't want black walnut. Give me something cheaper. So he gave me the sash.
Nice.
And then he oiled it. It turned out great. And then funny enough is I got the legs as well from Amazon. I got 2 pairs.
Oh, yeah?
That's all it was, right? And then I just made the holes to put the stands in there, and that was it. Done. He dominoed it together for me, and it was great. It worked out
Yeah,
great.
I like all the tickets in there. Look
Yeah,
pretty
just
cool.
that was the original idea from, and then just getting a glass in here and just drop it in place, and then that's it. So
It's cool.
You should talk about your give back stuff. We love doing that.
I think we already showed all the pictures for that.
which one?
Like all the give back projects, like those
just
tables.
Like your charity work that you do.
No, we didn't really talk about that. How much charity work are you doing? I know you're tied with sick kids, right? So
I do a lot of charity work.
Yeah?
Like I give back a portion of each of my sales to sick kids.
wow.
And I do a lot of give back projects where like all the process, like all the proceeds go to sick kids. Like those tables, like on the pictures.
Yeah.
But when I started, like my parents were like, you know, like you love woodworking. Why don't you also do some give back along with it? And I picked sick kids to give back to because I'm a kid.
Yeah.
I want to help other kids.
Of course.
So now it's all part of the business.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
How's sick kids feel about it? They must love it.
Yeah, I have a lot of good connections there.
I want to know what else you've learned. I want to know what else that you picked up, and are you being a teacher too? Are you educating other kids out there?
Well, not even kids, adults too.
Yeah, I believe that.
Like sometimes I just get like DMs like, oh, like I like your input on this. I'm building this, and what would you do if you were building this? So
Are you surprised by that?
yeah,
You can't be.
because like I'm a kid. Like
Doesn't matter. You have a love for what you're doing. You could be a kid. You could be an old person. It doesn't matter. It's still the same.
yeah,
In my
pretty
eyes,
cool.
it's still the same, right?
It's pretty cool when people.
You're still learning.
Yeah.
And you also probably want to pick their brain as well too, and then that's the conversation. So they're reaching out to you, asking a question, but then you're gonna ask them a question back, and all of a sudden you guys will problem solve. That's the beauty of this industry.
Yep.
You collectively problem solve. As much as you're probably like a lone workshop guy or whatever, but no, you probably still want people around you to kind of give you some input to figure out what are the better ways to do things, right?
Yeah.
That's part of woodworking, isn't it?
Most woodworking is problem solving.
Yeah.
Like
Or problem making and then problem solving.
That's true. Yeah. I ran into a lot of problems building a lot of things, but I always figured out one way or another.
Are you being conscious of health?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of sawdust. There's a lot.
I take safety first.
Okay.
Like, it's always number one.
So how conscious are you? Like, what are you doing when you're building things? You got the hearing protection going on. You
I got the mask, the glasses,
everything.
headphones, everything.
everything, right?
Yeah.
What are you listening to?
Just those headphones.
Oh, just the sound. Okay, not because now they're launching all the Bluetooth headphones now, right? And I'm like, is that a good idea? You guys want me to zone out where you're listening to something else, but then you're not
But
paying
I'm using
attention?
this dangerous
I know
tool.
this power tool, right? And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that the lake just got cut off. I didn't hear it, but I feel it. No, it's good to hear that you're 15 and you're so conscious of this, right? Because you're using some pretty harsh machinery, right?
Yeah. A lot of big machines. Oh, like when I started my workshop, and I had like a few tools, like my parents would supervise me when I was cutting or
I
drilling
don't doubt it.
or doing whatever to make sure I was safe.
Were they like side-eye supervising you?
No, they were like when I said, "Oh, Mom, I need to go cut this," and she's like, "Okay, give me a second, I'm coming down," and then she would supervise me while I cut that piece.
It's kind of smart. I mean, 10 years old, man.
Yeah.
I'd be a little nervous if I had a 10-year-old and I'm like, yeah, sure, power up the 15 amp saw and get it going and wear as loose clothing as possible. No, I'd be a little conscious.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be like, no, hang on, I'm here. And I'm going to put noodles everywhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd totally be protecting everything, right?
Like now, I've earned their trust and I'm safe in the workshop.
But you guys still go down, though, right? Just in case.
Yeah.
Plus, there's always the little, the woodworking surprises. You know, sometimes that a wood just wants to do something, and a machine just wants to do something, and you're like, oh, that's a nice little surprise.
Or like when I'm cutting someone on the bandsaw, and the whole bandsaw blade pops off the wheel.
Ah! That's a nice surprise.
Yeah.
I know, it's kind of bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have a scroll saw? No,
I do.
You
I
have
do.
a scroll
I
saw?
have a scroll. I don't
A
use
table
it.
scroll saw?
Yeah, it goes on my bench.
Okay, all right.
I don't use it very often.
You
I
don't.
think I've only used it like once.
That's what routers are for, man.
Yeah.
Use that instead, man.
I prefer the bandsaw. Like that sign I was showing you, the Giants of Africa one.
Yeah.
I cut all those pieces on the bandsaw because I'm better on the bandsaw than the scroll saw.
Wow. It's pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saving all your offcuts thinking that it might be applicable for another project?
Oh yeah.
You're constantly saving it, right?
I throw out some little things.
Little tiny things.
But, I have a lot of cutoffs that I'm probably never gonna end up using.
Why is that?
Because it takes up room.
Oh, 'cause it just
when I'm
start-
cutting these boards,
I know, you're
those
gonna-
boards were wider, and there's off like this. I'm like, oh, I'll put in a cutting board one day. I haven't made a cutting board in months.
Don't worry. He'll learn eventually that, hey, that's all kindling. You know what I mean? You have a little
Yeah.
bonfire. That's all it is.
But I have a lot of scrap wood.
I don't doubt it.
It's
but-
good because sometimes when I'm making a little jig or something, I have the perfect
and you
little
use that.
piece.
Or you want to do a little inlay and you got something exotic that you got rid of. You definitely the exotic, you don't want to be throwing out
Oh, no.
anything like that.
Just like the jig you made the other day.
Yeah, but that was really scrap wood. Just like a 1x4.
That was a great jig.
It was a good jig. My spline jig I made
You made a spline.
for
Really?
the router table. Yeah, so I could do those.
What kind of router you got?
Router table or router.
Router.
In my router table, I have a rigid one, and then I use a Ryobi cordless palm router.
Quarter or half? It's a quarter. It's a
But my
quarter.
router table is half,
It's half, right?
but it has a 1/4 inch collet that goes. in.
Yeah, so you can
'Cause most
change
of my
it.
bits are 1/4 inch from my old router table.
What bits you like using? Freud's or you like using Amanda's?
I did whatever Home Depot sells.
Whatever it has, right?
Yeah.
I love that you're not particular about anything.
No. It all gets the job done.
Because you know that everybody on social media is very particular
Very,
about
yeah.
everything, right? I only live and die by the color, like that kind of mentality, right?
I use a whole bunch of tools.
It's the work, man. It's
yeah,
more.
it's all good.
I think the skill, and the skill doesn't have a color. That's all I say, right? So, let me do a little bit of OBC talk here. Ontario Building Code, not really applicable to you, but kind of applicable to you. Termite and decay protection. Clearance between structural wood elements and the finished ground level directly below them shall not be less than, what do you think? How far should wood be away from the ground? Structural wood be away from the ground. This is in millimeters, though.
Like 36 millimeters.
450 millimeters. Except as provided in sentence number 2, all sides of the supporting element shall be visible to permanent inspection. I don't even know. What is it again? How many millimeters? 100 millimeters is what? 100 millimeters.
All I know is half an inch is 12 millimeters and an inch is 24 millimeters.
So that's a big chunk of change there. 450 millimeters.
That's a lot of inches.
Do you build in imperial or you build in metric?
I build in inches.
Yeah, imperial.
It's so much easier. Like, I'm not going to go measure something. Like,
I think so.
10,000 millimeters.
Structural wood elements supported by elements in contact with the ground or exposed over bare soil shall be pressure treated with chemical that is toxic to termites.
Do I have to say like true or false?
No, it is. That's true. Listen, people that actually know, are supposed to know this, don't even know this. Okay, so we always just pull it up. That's why I kind of pulled this up from that website Tracks, which I totally like. Right, I prefer it that way. No, I just wanted to share a little bit of that. So, website is www.evansworkshop.ca, and the email is evansworkshop at icloud.com, and then on Instagram it's evans_workshop. What else do you want to?
Maybe my hand tool collection. Like, I'm really big into hand tools as well.
Okay.
Like, I have a really big power tool collection. I also have a really big hand tool collection. I use my, when I'm building that box, it's a good hand tool project.
Do you prefer hand tool building versus power tool building?
Depends on what I'm doing. Like, if I'm building something for a customer, I'm not going to spend all day sanding with a piece of sandpaper, or I'm going to cut with a handsaw. Like, it depends on what I'm building. If I'm building something for me, I'll do a bit of both.
What are your planers like? Do you like planers?
My hand blades?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch. A lot of them. They're good.
You ever get a piece of paper?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You always, maintenance.
Most of the time, it's like, in order to get a piece of paper, you got to spend a lot of time sharpening.
Yeah.
Like, I have a Japanese water stone, and I spend a lot of time sharpening. I haven't sharpened anything in a while, but
But you're understanding the maintenance side of
Yeah.
woodworking, right?
Yeah.
Because you're only going to be as good as your maintenance.
Mm-hmm. Most of hand tool woodworking is sharpening. Most of it.
How are your chisels?
Sharp.
You ever ding one? You ever drop one by accident?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, right? You've done everything that we all have done, right?
Yeah.
We've all gone through it. So that hurts.
It does.
It's like a pain that just can't describe.
It is what it is.
He likes antique plates. He likes to restore old hand plates.
Really?
I've restored three hand blades. One was like an 80-year-old number 4.
How rusty, hard?
Wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Like, it was rusty and needed a lot of work, but in the end, it looked brand new. And same with all the other ones. I went to an antique tool show, and I bought 2 planes. I bought a number 3, and I bought a 140, which is a skew block plane.
Are you loving the shows? Because you're kind of in the element at that point, right?
Oh, yeah. I also like ones like woodworking shows. I haven't been to one in a while because of COVID. Like, there was no show, but hopefully I want to get back to those.
What do you like? You're going in there and you're seeing things that you probably have only seen images, or even you're discovering things that you've never even seen.
Yeah, and just meeting also people.
Yeah.
Very cool. Like, that's what, like, Workbench Con. Like, Workbench Con's not really like a tool show. It's like people, like meeting people, networking. And it was really fun. As I said, I got to meet everybody, like, in person I've been interacting with online.
It's going to be funny. And probably, Rob, you're probably thinking about, like, in 5 years, you're going to be a totally different person. You know that, eh? Physically and mentally. I'm telling you, the sprout's coming, man. You're probably going to be like 6 foot something, and you're going to be walking around talking to people that you met at shows, and they're going to be like, hey, I'm Evan. No, you're not. Who are you? Like, they won't recognize you, right? So you got to keep updated on social media to make sure.
Well, I keep updated.
All your
I post a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of reels.
So the hand tool collection is good. The maintenance is good. Power tools is good. You're gonna start getting into bigger machinery because you're gonna start doing some bigger projects.
Yeah. Like, my next tool I want, like, next two I want a saw stomp. Like, I'm not gonna get a table saw unless it's a saw stomp.
Yeah, it makes
especially
a lot of
like
sense.
Being young, I want on my fingers.
Of course.
I saw my whole life ahead of me.
Yeah.
I need on my fingers. And the other tool would probably be like a CNC. I feel like the possibilities are endless on there.
Did you see the remote operated CNC? It looks like a little droid, and it just goes right on the piece of ply on the floor.
Oh, like the shaper?
No, it's not. It's different. This is different. I know you're talking about the shaper, but the thing is, this one is, I can't remember the name of it, but I was impressed. I just saw the video, and he just drops it in place, and then it has 4 corners that you plant, and that's it. It actually starts to discover the geography of the layout, and then it starts to CNC right then and there. So you can just drop it right on the piece of wood instead of having to put the piece of wood and the machinery goes on it, right? Because you are limited sometimes, right?
Yeah.
On the size. This thing can actually do a whole sheet if it wanted, or even bigger.
That's cool.
Because it just has these cables that takes the corner points, the marking points, and then you start CNCing from there. Soft stop, it makes a lot of sense. I would really love for them to actually make a miter saw that's a soft stop, but I guess they can't really do that.
I just got a new miter saw the other day.
Which brand?
I got like the new Ryobi cordless one. It was gifted to me,
Yeah.
but I used it once.
How's the battery?
I only made like 2 cuts of it, but
So you don't really tell.
no.
One
I don't
battery,
know
2
yet.
batteries.
It came with 1 battery.
Does it come with a separate plug, so you can actually still plug it in if you're not using? No, it doesn't, right?
Just cordless.
DeWalt's the only one that does that. I was actually at an event recently, and I was asking the question, why isn't every cordless offering that?
But like I feel like I don't use my miter saw enough. Like my old one, I was plugged in, and I honestly, it's kind of a pain to plug it in because I had to get the extension cord out, and I had to plug it in.
Just get an electrician there, add more plugs.
I probably do need more plugs. I have 2 outlets in my entire garage,
I know, but it's just,
and one of them's for the lights.
you got to run the power right back to the panel because you're not just going to daisy chain the plugs, right? So
Yeah.
if you got all the tools going, there goes breaker, right?
Like I plug in 1 tool at a time. It's a pain, but it works.
Are you ready, Evan, to like start having assistants? Because you're going to need more people.
Well, when that probably happens, I'll probably be in a bigger shop,
Yeah.
not in the garage.
But you ready to be that person who's going to be delegating?
I guess, yeah.
It's a different shift, right? Like you're kind of in your zone, you're in your workshop, you're doing your work, you kind of, now you have somebody else coming in and offering up suggestions or wanting to help or wanting to learn, and it might get away at you. Like you might start thinking, I don't like this, I want to get back into the zone.
Yeah.
That could happen as you get bigger. I've seen guys like build shops and they grew and they grew and they grew, and all of a sudden they added more and more employees, and then it just became this whole huge outfit, right? It's good, it's bad, depends on what it is, but that's where the business side of the things are. So you got a lot to prefer. I'm sure you're like, so other than the grandfather, you don't get into this world. What do you do?
I like watching him.
He does like to watch me in the garage.
Because he's amazed. I'd be watching too.
Yeah.
I'm amazed.
Yeah.
He was like, "Let me just sit there for a few hours and just watch." And then he picked up a hammer and a couple nails and a screwdriver, and that's how he started.
Yeah, I'm very relaxed that way. Like I don't really stress that much.
You ever like talk to your friends and just go, how come you guys don't have a love for something? Because it's like they don't have a love for anything.
Yeah. Well, a lot of kids don't really know what they want to do. And they don't really care right now. Like I don't really know what I'm going to do when I'm older. It could be this, could not be this. I don't know.
Yeah, but you're prepared to realize like that this is it, right? Not this is it, that this is going to be a good life. Like this is a career option for the next 10, 20 years if you choose it.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, most kids at your age, they're not thinking that part.
No.
Because they haven't been connected to it the way you've been connected to it.
Yeah.
There's something that you did or something that happened that you got connected to, and they just need to find it for themselves. Sometimes it takes a while.
It takes a while, yeah.
Yeah, it could be in their teenage years, it could be in their 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever it is, right? Listen, Colonel Sanders didn't start until he was in his 60s, right?
Uh-huh.
So there's no KFC until he was in his 60s. I don't eat that crap, but that's just...
He comes by it very naturally. Like his personality is
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
right? Like he's got
He's got the
skills
mindset. He's
that
got, yeah.
he can sit with something and build something, and it doesn't have to be completed in a day. And he's thoughtful, he's methodical, he's patient, chill, and so he
Does it
really does come by it naturally.
Does it frustrate you, Evan? Like when you're trying to problem solve, right? And you're trying to understand something, and you can't get to it until you maybe have a good night's rest, or you kind of walk away from it and then clear your head.
It happens a lot. Like once I get frustrated, like I
Just walk away from it,
I
right?
close up the garage and I sleep on it, and it's usually fine.
Recently on one of your projects you did.
Yeah. Which one was it?
You just gave up for the night. You just said, I'm done.
But that was probably the best thing to do.
Yeah, what
Either it was
project?
one of the boxes.
It was probably one of the boxes, yeah.
Just
Oh,
got-
it was when I was building the top. So originally for those 2 boxes, they were going to have a redwood burl and epoxy top.
Okay.
Right? And I got them sanded down to the 1/2 inch, which took forever. And I brought them home because I got them sanded at Rob's.
Okay.
And they were totally warped because they were so thin.
Okay. So they just started taking. All right.
They were like a cup.
Yeah.
And I could not, I was like, what? Like, I spent all that time making it. I used 1.5 liters of epoxy on this too, and I spent all that time milling up the wood. And that redwood burl is not soft wood. Like, I burned through so many rolls of sandpaper, which is not cheap, and I just got frustrated with it.
But then you walked away from it.
I did walk away from it.
Back with that idea, which to me looks even nicer.
I think it matches better with like the splines and the
Walnut
inside. Yeah.
It totally does. It totally does. But that's good that you're understanding that you have limitations, and then you sometimes need to clear the canvas and get out and then come back.
Yeah, it's also like when I'm frustrated, like that's when injuries happen if you keep working. Like you get frustrated, you're not doing something right.
Yep.
So it's better just to take the rest.
So what would you tell any kid that wants to get into woodworking?
It looks challenging and like scary, especially because like it's not very accessible. Like with all like you see everybody online with these huge shops decked out with tools.
You don't need all
No,
that.
that's what I'm saying. Like it doesn't. It looks very non-accessible
Yeah.
to people starting out. But I'd say start with a few little tools, work your way up, ask questions, be safe, and you should be okay. It takes time. It does not happen overnight.
And then don't forget the money side of the business.
Yeah.
As much as it's a passion, you're starting it. I'm sure it was all passion. You love doing it, and all of a sudden you're turning out all these things. But eventually you realize there's money attached to this. I can make a career out of this, right?
There is a career attached to this.
Yeah. So then don't forget that part of it too as well. And then don't ever forget your worth. Because as you're learning, as you're building new things, then obviously your value is increasing.
Yep.
What's the saying? Very good at something, or what was it?
When you love what you do, you never work in it. No.
You never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
No.
Not that one.
No. Find something that you love.
Yeah.
Become really good at it.
Yeah.
And
Oh, make a lot of money doing it.
Yeah. That's basically it. You know, I think the majority of people that get into construction, they have that mindset, right?
Yeah.
But then we get involved in the politics and all the other crap that's involved in the industry. But that's in any industry, right? But if you stay focused in your lane and just stay focused on what you want to build, just keep on building it. You can make a living out of it, make a really good living out of it.
Yep.
Keep on doing it. And then eventually you become a teacher, you'll share it, and just grow from there.
Yep.
Good kid. Any siblings?
I do. I have a younger sister.
Okay. She has any interest?
Yeah, she does gymnastics, competitive gymnastics.
Okay.
She's really good at it.
But nothing in woodworking.
No.
But she'll be asking you to build stuff for her.
No.
Wait.
No.
She does competitive gymnastics?
Yeah.
That means what is it up? The rails, or what are they called?
she does bars, floor, beam, and vault.
Yeah, but
And
which
it's
is the
artistic.
one that's wood? There's a wood one.
The vault.
The vault,
Okay.
that's it. Yeah, okay. You'll be building one of those soon.
Or the way we used to call it back in our day, a horse.
Yeah, horse. That's exactly what it was. Yeah, the horse. Yeah, that's how I. That's like, what's it called? What's it called? Yeah, you'll be building one of those soon, man.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
My sister, like, sometimes I build her little things, but she's like, oh, she can get it off Amazon.
Doesn't that like stab you in the heart?
Like, no, it's one less thing I have to build. I'm never going to get to it anyways.
The wood's still drying.
Yeah.
Amazon's wood is all dry.
Yeah.
That's too funny, man. What do I want to share a little bit here? Okay, so a little bit of Green Book talk here. You know about the Green Book, right?
Nope.
This thing?
Oh, that.
Workplace safety?
Now I do.
OSHA?
Now, yeah, I know what that.
That okay. So Ontario is moving forward with a new legislation to increase the maximum fine for corporations convicted under the OHSA. Maximum fines would jump from $1.5 million to $2 million. It would mean Ontario would have the harshest penalties in Canada for corporations that violate OHSA. Last spring, the province raised fines for individuals, corporates, directors from $500,000 to $1.5 million. The province is also proposing changes that would see it impose the highest fines in Canada on employers convicted of withholding a foreign national passport or work permit. So this is something I didn't know, and this has actually been going on. So you got immigrants coming into the country, and they're working, and you got employers that are keeping their passports from them so they can't leave, and then they're forced to work. So there's the other side of things, but it's good that the government's paying attention to it, right? So it's been documented by advocates and migrant workers to control migrants, to keep them from speaking out and unfair treatment. So it's a shame, but I'm glad that the government's actually doing something about it. All right, Evan, we're getting close to wrapping it up and me asking you the 12 questions of construction.
I want to ask you about your book.
What about, that's not my book.
Oh.
That's Kim's book, but if you want a copy of that book, take it. I have a book that I wrote.
I know you wrote a book.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
What do you want to know?
Why did you decide to write a book?
It was in me.
Yeah.
It was in me, and I just started it, right? So I would do it going to work. I'd do it on the job site. I would make notes. I'd get my phone, and I would just make notes. And I started putting all these notes together. And then funny enough, is I didn't go to YouTube. I discovered books that people that I respected, how to write a book. And then I just read those books, and I started figuring out the basis of it. So they explain to you how to begin, middle, and end. And then once you figured out those 3 key points in a book, you can fill in the blanks.
How long did it take you to write the book?
It took me 6 months to write the first draft. And then I sat on it for 6 months. I didn't do anything. And then I went back at it for a year. And then I sat on it for a tiny bit. Then I got editors involved. And then I started learning the whole fiasco and all this other stuff. The book publishing world is what's the best word I can use? That's not 4 letters. It's a really interesting world, right? Because it's just like everyone's got their nose up in the air, right? So then, it was good to do. It was fun to do. I'm still working on it. There's still more things that are attached to it. But in the meantime that I was working on that, I actually wrote another book that's not the same. It's completely different. So I was just curious about it. Yeah. Why you gonna write a book?
Probably not anytime soon, but I've written 2 articles for the Canadian Woodworking magazine.
What the? Really?
Yeah.
You or ChatGPT?
Me.
No, I'm joking with you. I know it's you. Really? Look at that.
There's the first one.
And that's the article on that one.
Oh no, that's the
No. What was your article that you did?
the tic-tac-toe board.
Ah.
That's the most recent one. And there's the first one.
And what was the article there?
About making a black walnut stool.
How many words?
I don't remember the exact word count, but it's a few pages.
Normally it's in magazine. I think it's about 500 words. No, minimum 500 words.
Yeah, this one was a little more than that, probably closer to 1,000 words.
So how is that feeling to kind of translate your thoughts into words to share?
It's interesting. It's like usually when I'm doing something, I don't really have to describe what I'm doing. I just do it.
You just do it.
When
or
I
you
actually
explain
have to
it.
put those on paper, I got to think about it.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
And so you kind of going back, and you're kind of remembering all the steps for yourself.
Yeah.
And then expressing them through words.
Yeah.
You'll probably do more of those articles.
Maybe.
It'll open up other things.
It could, yeah. Right now I've only done 2.
Yeah, but that's 2 more than other people have done. Listen, man, you started with your first cutting board. You started with your first. There's always a first. There's always a second. You just get started. Coasters, there's always a beginning. That's the cool thing about it, right? So don't ever say it's just 2. No way.
So if you scroll down, you'll see.
Oh.
What are we looking for?
So he's done lives with Lee Valley.
Yeah, I did a few live streams with Lee.
Oh, you did leave? Really, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't you love Lee Valley walking in there?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But your dad probably doesn't like it, though.
He's been in there a few times.
No, I mean the cart when it gets to the cash.
I'm the one paying for it.
So you done some. Oh, look at this, man! You're all over the place. So you're getting used to the camera, huh?
Yeah.
But you guys are young enough, to understand all this stuff. What's that one there? January 8th, 121.
That was my first podcast.
Okay, all right. Paula from Live Edge Lumber.
Yeah.
That's very cool. It's very, very cool. All right, Evan. You ready for the 12 questions?
Sure.
What's your favorite construction word? Could be a carpentry word.
Like maybe when I screw up, probably the F word.
What's your least favorite carpentry word? There's nothing that comes to mind.
No.
Least favorite.
What's an example that other people have said?
Well, in construction, least favorite. They probably would have said change order. They would have said, I don't know, blowout for concrete guys. Just mistakes, things that happen, right? Or not getting paid, stuff like that, right? So carpentry wise, I don't know. Well, I guess like the bandsaw blade snapping.
Yeah, that's
not a word, but yeah.
that's like a sentence.
That's an action. I don't know. Least favorite carpentry word. Is there a funny carpentry word that you don't like?
I don't know if there's any funny ones, but
There isn't. Don't worry. What turns you on in carpentry?
like finishing something, like actually finishing a project.
Getting to that point.
Yeah, it's like I've spent all this time and it's done and it's nice.
What turns you off in carpentry?
Screwing up.
What's your favorite curse word?
F word.
What's your favorite vehicle in the entire world?
I would if I had one car, like it's probably not like a practical car, but like probably like a Ferrari like 450 something, like a red sports car.
What's your least favorite vehicle?
I don't know. I'm not really know cars that well.
Yeah, but you're a couple of years away from getting a license.
1 year away.
Sorry, I was giving some generosity there, man. Takes a process, isn't there? Graduating. By the time you actually get it, you could start at 16. But
By the time I'm like driving by myself, it'll probably be another like 2 years. But I could start driving with him in like a year.
I know. That'll
I'm
be
sure he's
fun.
happy about it.
So there's no least favorite vehicle?
Like maybe like a car that doesn't start. I don't know.
That works. What carpentry sound or noise do you love?
Oh, like if like like when you're hammering something and like if you speed up the sound, it sounds pretty cool.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like a woodpecker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, what construction sound or noise do you hate?
The rotor.
It's loud.
It's very loud.
Screaming.
Like I put like a big bit in my router. I think it was like a 1 inch straight bit because I was routing out something on there, and it's so loud.
Screams. Try putting a
Oh
2-inch one.
Crazy.
And I'm doing templates out of plywood.
Yeah.
It was just screaming.
So
over
loud.
it. I know.
It was like even with the headphones, my ears were hurting.
This is going to be an interesting question. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt one day?
As I said, like I don't really know what I want to do. I don't really know professions. I'm not too sure.
Is there anything else that's kind of piquing your interest?
Maybe like a world traveler. Like I want to travel the world.
You'll stop at all the construction sites. You'll stop at all the woodworking places, and you'll start picking everybody's brain.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. What profession would you never like to do?
Oh, I didn't think about this.
There's nothing out there that's like, I don't want to do that.
I don't know.
We've had a lot of people say office jobs, sanitation, cop. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe a cop then.
Okay.
I feel like you have to be like cut out to do that job. I'm not cut out to that job.
No, special breed. Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at those pearly gates?
Here's every Festool ever made. I don't know.
God's using Festool?
Maybe. Probably. That's pretty good tools.
You never know. God could be using Ryobi.
Never know.
You never know. Maybe God's using all of them,
Just like me.
depending on the day of the week, right?
Yeah.
Evan, thanks so much for coming on the
Thanks
show.
for having
man.
me, Manny.
Honestly,
I had a blast.
This is great to have you out here, and I wish you all the best. And I look forward to seeing what else you start building and pulling off, and it's amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
It's a great kid, man. Everybody, check him out. Evan's workshop. Sorry. Yeah, but you should be totally. Listen, and Evan, you're like rare, man. Like rare. Not the steak or anything like that. You're just rare. Like, like it's just not a lot of kids are doing what you're doing, which is a great thing that you're doing it. And you're doing it because you love doing it. right? It takes people sometimes a long time to find their love that they want to do, right?
Yep.
So you found it early, which is great, and you're embracing it, and then also you're educating other people, and you're learning, and you're also taking history. You're going back in time, and you're going modern. You're learning from new tools, old techniques. You're putting it all together, and you're creating it what you want to create for yourself, right?
Yep.
So that's amazing, right? I wish more and more kids were doing that. Wish more and more adults were doing that, right? So everybody check them out. The website is www.evansworkshop.ca, and the email is evansworkshop@icloud.com, and then his Instagram is Evans_workshop.
Yeah.
I think that's it, man.
Thank you, Manny.
Thanks, Angelina. We're out of here.